What's going on? Because y'all miss me. Y'all miss me. We've been gone for like a couple weeks, but I got a rock star, another one on the hook. Reeled her in. She's here. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. We're gonna get to her real quick because she's got short, limited time because she's a rock star, superstar. So superstars can't hang out all the time. Just got to be. They're just so cool. You are on with Hurdlers of Adversity. And my name is John Register, of course, and welcome to the show today. Two-time two-sport Paralympic athlete, silver medalist from the Games in Sydney, Australia. And my company, Inspired Communications International, what we do is we help business professionals really hurdle their adversity, amputate their fear, embrace a new normal mindset to win the medals that are in their lives. And so we started the show just to kind of introduce you to people like that. So welcome. This is live. You get up close and live and personal with folks. Diana Parker, she is on. I knew it. I knew she was going to be on today. Got to give her a shout out. Look at that. Good evening and welcome, Dana. Look at that. Just spoiler alert, gave the juice up. Spoiler. Thanks for that, Diana. Appreciate you so much. My homie from another Romy. Who's that? I don't know on Facebook user out there. And I know Lynn Keir is probably always going to be on as well. She's always one of our loyal faithfuls. And so if you want to learn more about me, just visit johnregister.com or just get in there with Diana Parker because she knows everything about me. So please subscribe, hit the notification bell when you have that there too. Keith Butler's in. All right. What's going on, Keith? Let me see that. Good to see you too. Good to see you sit. Yeah, I'm sitting. I've been sitting all day on a plane coming back from Nashville, Tennessee. Oh, sir. It was not sit. It was sir. Okay. You are a superstar to Jay. Jay, what's up? Superstar Jay. What's up, dude? Is that Jay my son? Or is that who's Jay? Which one's Jay? Okay. All right. Anyway, so hit the subscribe wherever you're watching from because we're on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube, I think Twitter because Periscope's no longer, but Twitter just came up with another one. So I think we're pushing out to there as well. So my story is really quick. It's a riches to rags to riches story. Was a world-class athlete, ran for Arkansas, 4-time track and field All-American, joined the military, was on the world-class athlete program team, combat Army veteran. And when I was training for my third Olympic trials in the 400-meter hurdles, I misstepped a hurdle, dislocated my left knee, severed the artery behind the kneecap, and then 7 days later became an amputee. Welcome to the world of disability. My wife says, John, you just need to create a new normal mindset. That's what we did. I started swimming for physical therapy and 27 months later made somehow the Paralympic swim team. And then I saw athletes running and jumping with artificial limbs. I had a leg made for running, won the silver medal over in Sydney, Australia, becoming one of 2 amputees at that time to jump over 17 and a half feet without a leg or a knee. And so now I started the military sport program for the United States Olympic Committee, and we are working with the State Department, sports diplomacy, global sport mentoring program, and we're really trying to push excellence into people, get them to make the jumps in their lives they need to make and get beyond what holds them back. And the guests we have on the show, each one of them has done that. And so we're going to not waste too much more time because I want to introduce you to this rock star that we have right here. Thank you all for being on. LOL from Keith Butler. Yeah, I know, man. You know, it's me. It's me, right? So please share the platform that you're watching from in the chat. Your platform, this platform is all over the place. So I want to know where you're watching from because I don't know. And then we're going to also put it into another format. I'm trying to get my podcast going again and had some issues with that, but I'm trying to get the podcast going so we can have our guest on that podcast as well. So if you know of a person who would like to make a great guest in the show, just DM me. You know how to get a hold of me. So about our guest for today, let's get rocking and rolling. She was born and raised in San Diego, California, where the weather person needs no job. And at the age of 10, she contracted a rare autoimmune disease called transverse myelitis. It left her paralyzed from the waist down. 10 years old, right? And she was introduced to a sport. You know, we talked about sports and how they can heal. Wheelchair tennis at the age of 13, and the rest is history. So today she's a 2-time Paralympian and Tokyo Paralympic quarterfinalist. She is the top seeded American woman and number 8 in singles internationally. She has been a member of Team USA since 2008 and has represented the United States at several world championships and the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games, where I got a chance to see her actually compete. Outside of tennis, she has a master's degree, so she's smart too, in clinical audiology, and is currently working towards her doctoral degree in the same field. So please welcome the owner of the Dog Riley, USTA USA representative, the Ace Smasher, Dana Mathewson. Wow! We bow. We bow.
That was an epic intro. I just love the fact that you mentioned that I was the mom to Riley. Like, that was just the best part. I wish I had her on my lap and I could have like phased out and then just had her like waiting to be.
Absolutely. Oh my God, that would have been classic. That's so good. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'm so happy to talk to you today, and I know we've been trying to do this for a little bit, and so I'm so glad to be on with you. And so, thank you so much. If you have any questions for Dana, because she's going to be on to the bottom of the hour, so just put them in the chat. I'm watching them right now. I'm just saying, right, we are live. I'm going to put that in the chat box. Hopefully, you can all see that as we get ready to go. We are live. Talk a little bit about 10 years old, and your life just shifts all of a sudden. What was kind of life before that? Dreams, maybe aspirations. As little kids, we may want to be a flight attendant, or we want to be a firefighter, or a nurse, or doctor. And then talk about what shifted for you after that.
Oh my gosh, what a shift that was. I mean, I don't remember a ton about my aspirations when I was really young. I remember that I wanted to be a primary school teacher, I think. I've always loved kids, and I always thought my teachers were just the coolest people on the planet. Like, I was that kid that was sitting next to the teacher and always raising my hand, like always volunteering. I was that kid.
You're that kid, the one busting the curb, making us look bad with the curb.
Yeah. Yeah, I was that annoying kid. So I think I wanted to be a teacher. I didn't have any athletic aspirations. I was really into sports and I was very active, but I never saw myself as like a professional athlete. But yeah, like you said, I got injured or hurt or sick or whatever you want to call it when I was 10 years old. I was at soccer practice when it happened. My mom was always a huge supporter of both my brother and I being really active kids. So I went to tennis camps. I did soccer all the time. I was in art school. I did all sorts of like everything that my mom could sign us up for. She was like, you're doing it because you need to be well-rounded kids. And I'm so grateful for that. But like I was saying, I was at soccer practice, running sprints. My back started to hurt really badly, and cut to 2 hours later, I remember looking down at my toe, trying to move it. And it was like someone switched a light switch off and just nothing was working anymore.
Wow.
And they rushed me to the hospital, did a bunch of MRIs and scans, and found out that I got this really rare autoimmune disease that happens to, I think, like 1 in a million people a year. It's something crazy like that. I don't know what the current statistics are, but it's like I won a really weird lottery. And it left me as a paraplegic. So my life drastically changed in the blink of an eye. And like you said, I was only 10. So that was really, really hard. I think when anyone's 10 years old, disability or not, you're so awkward at that time. Like, you're trying to fit in with your friends, your body's changing, you're getting acne, everything's changing about your life, and it's really hard. So to add disability on top of that, my brain was just like, oh my gosh, like, how do I function? How am I going to try to fit in with everyone? Like, as a young girl, you're trying to look cute. There's trends you wanna, you know what I'm saying? Like,
who was the boy band you're looking at then?
Oh, Backstreet Boys for sure. Everyone's always like, Backstreet Boys are NSYNC. I'm hard Backstreet Boy fan, and they even did some revival CDs, and I have them all.
You heard it here first, everybody.
Love them.
Dana's doing Backstreet. She's got Backstreet Boys on the playlist.
I do. My mom loves them too. We're such dorks on road trips. We'll listen to them and like scream. But anyways, that it was really, really hard for me. I think mainly just for the fact of wanting to fit in. And then also there's the factor of me trying to get used to my new life, right? I was used to being able to just walk downstairs and get myself a drink of water. All of a sudden I'm like, can I do that anymore? Do I have to have people waiting on me hand and foot? How independent can I be? what's my life going to look like? Will I ever get married? You know, all those questions come into
Wow,
your head, and
wow.
I'm sure they were in my
At 10 years
mind
old, you wanna know if you could get married. That's
100% because those Backstreet Boys, they look good.
I'm
Yeah, it was
dying.
hard.
Uh, you know, it's interesting because, we talk about you just talked about, how do I get down the stairs? Or, so we see with ADA compliance and those things with the 1990 law that was signed into law by George W. Bush, ADA, 21 years ago, 20 almost 22 years ago, but 21 years ago. We see a lot of curb cutouts now. We see a lot of access open up, but at the same time we don't, right? And so I was just in a hotel room the other day in Nashville, Tennessee, and you know there is no way if I was in my wheelchair to get around, if my prosthetic was hurting, that I would be able to get into that bathroom. I mean, I could hop in there, but if somebody was spinal
That
cord
happens
injured,
a
there's
lot.
no way they can get
Yeah.
into the bathroom to do it. So talk about that from the standpoint of, we've come a long way, but at the same time we still have such a long way to go.
Oh yeah. I think I can talk about that in two aspects. I think that number one, America is, I think, the most progressive in terms of physical accessibility. Like we're talking about, we have a lot more ramps, curb cuts, et cetera, than most countries in the world. But I think mentally, we are much more behind in
I
terms
agree.
of accepting people with disabilities, understanding that they're not something to gawk at on the street. I think there's just not a lot of exposure to disability or people like you and me that are actual professional athletes or were at some point in their lives. Um, so I think our country has a long way to go in terms of that, because I've also had time living abroad. I lived in England for 3 years of my life, and the way that they celebrate Paralympic sport and just disabled
Sure.
culture is such a shift from what we have here.
Right.
It's the representation that they have, whether it's as a Paralympic athlete or professional athlete, or even just an actor or someone that's on a magazine cover. It's so different than what we have here. It's much more
Mhm.
commonplace and mainstream and accepted over there. I don't get stared at on the street. It's so different. But in terms of what you're talking about, in terms of actual physical accessibility, that can be such a pain. Um, I had something not too different from that, living in my apartment that I'm in now. I live on the fourth floor. We have an elevator, and when that elevator is down, I'm literally screwed. There's only one elevator in my building.
Wow. Oh
Um,
my gosh.
that went out for repairs, I think, for over 48 hours. And all of a sudden, I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? And they didn't email me. They didn't talk to me. I had to chase them and be like, hey, I think you need to put me up in a hotel. Like, what is going to be the reasonable accommodation for this situation? But that's just a small snippet of what people with disabilities have to experience every day, whether that be that there's no cutouts, whether it's maybe you need to get into a building that has steps to get up to it. That happens all the time, and it's just another reminder that you're different from everybody else, and those moments can really suck.
Yeah, that's we're talking on the physical side of things, and it doesn't matter if you're a Paralympic athlete, you still got
No,
to deal with that, right?
yeah,
So the other piece of that is, with National Disability Employment Awareness Month, we talked in the introduction that you are, have your master's degree. And a lot of times I see our Paralympic athletes or people with disabilities, they will camp out at school because even though we get master's or doctorate program degrees, we still don't get hired. We still remain part of the 70%. How do you see, in your life to open and shatter some of those barriers, the next future of or the frontier for disabilities as employment, as Ted Kennedy Jr. says on the American Association for People with Disabilities. Used to be the board chair. Now he's off the board chair. He's not the board chair, but love to know your thoughts on that.
I mean, I would love to be able to inspire some change in terms of the way that people with disabilities are perceived in the workplace, as well
Yeah.
as just changing that statistic. I think that due to the lack of awareness in our country about people with disabilities, there's an inherent I think subconscious bias that most people have when they see a wheelchair or a prosthetic or something. Maybe less with prosthetics, a bit more with wheelchairs, that all of a sudden maybe there's a mental deficiency as well, or I can't be employed. Like, how could I possibly also have a master's degree or a higher education? Like, those things just don't seem to equate with people. And so I think I'm really proud personally that I'm someone that can shift that stereotype. I am disabled. I do have a master's degree. I am a professional athlete. All of those things don't really fit in people's bubbles, right? You put people in
Right.
boxes, and I don't think my boxes necessarily fit in what most people would associate me with when they hear that I'm disabled. But I would really like to change that. I think it's really sad that a lot of people are out there that have incredible intelligence, but are still not hireable by most companies just because of some assumed or preconceived notions that people have about disability. And that really needs to change, because just because we are physically different doesn't make us less than. And to be honest, like, what's the point of the diversity and inclusion initiatives that lots of companies have? The whole point of diversity and inclusion is to learn from people's strengths, right? And to use them or people's differences, and to use them as a strength and make people better. Disability is a huge chunk of the population.
Absolutely.
15% of the world's population. It's a lot
Right.
of people.
Yeah.
And think of all the different things that you can learn from disability. I know that you and I probably share a lot of the same traits in terms of overcoming adversity, problem solving, all sorts of things. How would that not directly translate to a business model? So I think that a
Right.
lot of jobs are not a lot of jobs, but companies are overlooking a lot of powerful candidates, and hopefully that starts to change.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there are some kind of inroads right now. There are like 83 executive CEOs from Fortune 500, pretty much, or 250 companies right now with the used to be USBLN. It's called Disability In now, and they've signed on to kind of push into the space with their own brands and their own companies that they're running. These major companies, and it was really brought on by uh, Mr. Tom DiNapoli, the New York comptroller for New York State. And he looked at the organizations through the Accenture report that said if you have two alike companies, one company, company A, promotes, retains, and hires, retains, promotes people with disabilities in the workplace. Company B does not. Company A actually outperforms Company B 2-1 to shareholder returns. So Mr. Tom DiNapoli said, I'm going to invest I'm going to invest these trillions of dollars for pension funds in Company A's, not Company B's. And we begin to see the shift of other, folks following suit. As
I
you
think
look at
that's
this
great.
from, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I think that's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And so we see this shift, but you're right, there is this attitudinal barrier, or we call it ableism, however you want to kind of call that out. I'd like to kind of shift gears now and talk about, kind of juxtapose it, because you just came back from Tokyo, and you came back from London as well, from the games, from the Wimbledon. And so all the tennis that's been going on, US Open, all these things you've been playing, we've seen some not just access, but shifts in attitude and shifts in ableism around the tennis community. Can you talk about the growth of that and your experience that you had as an athlete, being in Rio and then going to, Tokyo, and the dynamic of not having anybody in the stands and having everybody in the stands there?
Yeah, I think that, going to Rio was my first games. So to be able to go during a non-COVID time is something I'm really appreciative of. I sort of do feel for people whose first games were the Tokyo games, and not because the Tokyo put on a bad games by any means. It was incredible,
Yeah.
but just having empty stands, going into opening ceremonies and not having a packed house. That's something that I'm really grateful that I got to experience.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
my dog, the one that you mentioned, is playing with crazy toys right now. Hold on.
Why? What's up,
Hi,
Riley?
come here.
Come on up. We got to see you.
Yeah, let's have
Come
Riley
on.
on the show.
Let's go, Riley.
Sorry
Yay!
so sorry about that.
No, it's
So
all good.
I think that, Tokyo was incredible. I can't honestly think of a better country to run a games during an insane pandemic. Like,
Right.
they were so organized, they were so welcoming, they were so nice. And they're huge tennis fans. I had no idea that Japanese people were such fans of tennis,
Oh
much
yeah.
less Paralympic tennis. Like, their Paralympic tennis players are huge over there. So that was really, really cool. Even though we didn't have fans, all of the volunteers were so involved, and they all wanted
Wow.
pins. Like, pin trading is a big thing at the games.
Right. Right.
I'm sure it was when you were at the games too.
Always.
Did you keep your pins? I kept mine.
I have mine there in the closet. Yeah. I
Oh,
keep
that's
them around.
awesome.
I put them around lanyards, different
Yeah,
lanyards and
that's what I
stuff.
do too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that, with the Tokyo Games, I really saw a difference in terms of the Paralympic movement and how we were seen on like national broadcast television. I mean, the fact that there was more hours and the fact that we were featured on prime time from NBC for the first time ever with the Tokyo Games is huge.
Yeah.
I think that means that our country is starting to buy into the Paralympic movement and wanting us to be seen. It's a small step towards where we want to go, but it is a big step. And yeah, tennis is really growing in popularity. I think, you know, on the able-bodied side and the wheelchair side, I'm really enjoying being in such a professionalized sport. And the fact that I get to travel the world and follow a fuzzy tennis ball around and get paid to do it is amazing. So I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can.
I think it's absolutely fantastic. You know,
Riley
one
loves
of the it's really good. One of the things that I enjoy is I have there she is right there. Look at that, slamming that US Open. Dana Mathewson doing it forehand style. There you are right there with the.
That's right before Rio. That was at Team Processing.
Look at you, the young one right there, the youngster. Yeah. And then look, backhand. We got to get a backhand shot. Let's go. Look in that. Okay. What's this shot here? Tennis
that
ball.
Was at the Swiss Open years and years ago, I think.
Nice. Crusher. And one more forehand shot that we got. Look at the rips right there. I love it. That's so awesome. Yeah, so the one of the folks you probably know that's on the circuit did the what do you call it this year, the 5 slam or the golden slam.
Well, it's a golden slam if you also won the Paralympic gold.
Paralympics, right? So yeah, Dylan Alcott. So we do some work together as well. So he won the golden slam. When you look at, you know, your life right now, where it is, kind of what's your hope, right, for not just disability, but just kind of what's kind of the big idea you're chasing?
Oh wow. You know, I've been asked a lot of questions in interviews. I've never been asked one like that. The thing that I'm chasing for myself, I think the big thing that I try to do day to day is just really lead by example. I think it's something I kind of touched on before in some previous questions, but I'm probably one of the only disabled people that the people I interact with on a regular basis have ever really interacted with, right? So it's not a burden as such, but it's a responsibility that I feel I have to educate by example, to let people know that people with disabilities are most of the time just like you and me, right? They're not necessarily grandmas and grandpas, which was my preconceived notion prior to my injury. I had zero exposure to disability before the age of 10. I honestly, I'm embarrassed to say it, but I thought that anyone with a disability that was young also had a mental disability. I just had no idea. So I think in terms of my life, that is something I'm very passionate about. Yeah. I'm also very passionate about little Riley here, but also about just giving back to the community. I know that sounds really cliche, but it's something I really care about. And that's why I picked a field like audiology. You have such an opportunity to create change in someone's life. I don't know if you've watched those videos about, you know, a little kid whose hearing aid is switched on for the first time and they hear their mom say, "I love you" for the first time. That's literally my job. So I get to literally impact someone's ability to do better in school, to make friends better, to interact with their families better, to not feel isolated from the world. I get to treat a human sense. That's such a cool thing. And you can tell I get really excited about it. But yeah, I either want to find myself engaging in change, whether it's through tennis or whether it's through audiology. But either way, I feel like my life has been touched by so many people in positive ways. And I'd love to be able to give back in that same sense. I know that sounds kind of cliche and generic.
No, it really doesn't. And I think we have to look at what we say is cliche, and are we really doing the work to make that a poignant observation, right? Of state, because I always talk about the new normal. Oh, I'm so sick and tired of the new normal. So I do this all the time. So I owned it, and I said, I need you to hear it from a different perspective. Let's really wrestle with this and see what are we really talking about here. And so I think we have to, you know, just because other people are coming in, they're being lazy. That's what they're doing. So they just say they only heard somebody else say it's overused. So that's why it becomes overused, because I heard somebody else say it, so it must be. We don't
I
do the
see.
work ourselves. So we got some folks on, and I got a question to ask you, kind of a follow up to what you just said. One is, we have Tracy Fuller on from Seattle, Washington. Is it raining over there, Tracy? Got to know. Seattle's it's 50-50, can be raining. Um, Wow, accessibility issues in America. We need to do better, Diana Parker
We
says. And she also
do.
comes back and says, just because you have a physical disability does not mean you have a mental disabilities and you are unable to excel intellectually. Congratulations on your master's.
You.
Congratulations, says her. And what a blessing to touch lives on that level. Yes, it is, Tracy. And one of the things that happens, right, when I was building out the Paralympic military sport program, was just that, right? You see the light bulb come on in somebody's life again, and you realize you're having impact in that shift, that change, that
Yeah.
reckoning that they've come with, and they move to a higher plane of existence, and they're no longer going to go back. You can see that shift. They're not going back. There's a definitive moment in somebody's life, and yes, then he gets to do that on a day-to-day basis. So that's Facebook user says, yes. I love it. Love it. All right. Rapid round is coming up right now. Rapid round. Everybody loves the rapid round. Here we go. We're going to bring her in close right now. These are just questions I'm going to ask you. First thing that comes to the top of your
Oh
mind.
no, I'm
is
so
that
bad at these.
oh, you're so good. It's so good. Okay.
Okay.
We'll do this one. Favorite movie snack?
Popcorn.
Popcorn. Mountain, city, or beach?
Ooh. City.
Spirit animal.
It depends on the day. Sometimes sloth, sometimes like a lioness.
Love that. Fastest speed you've ever driven a car in the United States?
I think like 95.
All right, good. Okay, all right. Overtime, she's not gonna say over 100. Best bowling score?
Not good. I don't even remember.
Probably not over 100, just like the
No,
driving.
definitely not over 100. I get excited if I hit a pin. Like, it's not good.
That is hilarious. Here's one. Here's a good one. It's gonna be a little. This might be a little deep thinker.
Okay.
The advice your 80-year-old self gives yourself right now.
Don't take yourself so seriously.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Came up with that one quick. And your guiding North Star, your anchor, what kind of pushes you, the reason why you get up and, oh, I got to be Dana today.
I always want to be better. I love to learn. I like to improve myself every day. I don't know if part of that is because I'm stubborn. I'm also competitive. But I always want to be better. So I think that's why.
Well, that's the Paralympic spirit. The motto is Citius Altius Fortius, swifter, higher, stronger. Those words are not written in the superlative of the word, swiftest, highest, or strongest, but they're written with that ER stem ending, that we can be the swiftest today, swifter tomorrow. So that's absolutely right. Always have an ER stem ending, says Dana Mathewson.
I like that.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else? You got questions in here? When you see the light bulb come on, right? Absolutely. When you see the light bulb come on, that's what happens when you get that shift in somebody's eyes, right? It's that point of reckoning. They can push forward in that. So thanks everybody. That's great. So tell us how you can. Hey, what's up, Ron? What's up going on? What's up, cuz? How you doing, cuz? What's up, Ron? What's going on, baby? Tell us a little bit. We're pretty much done here. What is it that how do I phrase this question? I had it here. It's gone off the tip of my tongue now.
I hate when that happens.
Well, I want people know how to get a hold of you. How they get in contact with you.
Well, so I'm on all the different social media channels. Like, I'm on Instagram, just search Dana Mathewson, same with Facebook, and I'm on Twitter as well. I also have a website, so that'll be danamathewson.net. And you're more than welcome to reach out to me on any of those platforms, and ask me any questions that you want. I'm pretty open to any questions that people have about my life or disability or whatever. I know sometimes people get a little nervous to ask questions like that, but I think education is the best way. So feel free to reach out to me.
DanaMathewson.net. I just put in the chat box for you all over there. And there was one question coming from Tracy Fuller. It's kind of the same thing I think I was asking, but we'll see. See if something else comes up for you. What do you want to be your legacy?
My legacy.
Your legacy to leave behind.
I think in terms of my tennis career, I don't really care so much about people remembering me as top 10 in the world or number 1 in the United States. Although I don't want people to forget that. But it's not the only thing I want people to know about me. I think I want people to remember me as that one camp counselor that helped their light bulb turn on, because that's where mine got turned on. I was at a USTA camp when I was 13 years old, kind of like we mentioned. And I met all these different kids with disabilities. I met all these different national coaches, and they showed me how much sport could change my life and how much my body could still do. And that was a huge moment for me, and it completely changed my life. It's why I'm sitting here with you right now. And so as soon as, I stopped competing as much, I would love to start giving back more to the community in that sense. I've been able to coach at a fair amount of junior camps, and I love working with kids so much. It's such a rewarding thing. And so in terms of tennis, I want my legacy to be that. In terms of the rest of my life, I don't really know. I haven't thought about it entirely too much. I want to be a mom. I want to be a wife. I want to, meet the Backstreet Boys. No, I'm kidding.
And full circle, circular construction. I love it. And right back to the beginning.
That were here in the first couple of minutes. If you just joined, you won't get it.
Yeah, you got to go back and rewind the tape. I always say, it shows my age. Yeah, push the rewind, because you'll get it when we talk about the introduction that we had. It was funny. Hey, I really appreciate you being on. I could talk to you all day. I know you have a hard stop at the bottom of the hour, so I just wanted to say thank you so much for just gracing us with your time, your answers, just such a lovely personality, a beautiful spirit. So thank you. And it was great to have Riley on the show as well.
Thanks for having Riley. She muscled her way in here.
Got in there. I got to get my 15 minutes of fame, baby.
He loves the camera. It's so annoying.
That's hilarious. It's awesome. But thank you so much. And if you want to, if you got a few seconds to stick around, I'll close the show out and come back and talk to you. If not, I'll chat with you a little bit later. But thanks again. We really appreciate you being on and gracing our audience today.
Thank you so much. I had a great time.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Everybody say bye to Dana. She's been awesome. Wonderful session today. Great interview. Look at that. Bam. Diana Parker. Wonderful session today. Great to meet you, Dana. Thank you. This was awesome. Tracy Fuller in the house right there. Thank you so much, Tracy. We appreciate that. See you, Dana. I appreciate you.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Wasn't that a great show? I mean, Dana's just fantastic, rock star. Ron says bye. So we're just closing the show out. Just really let you know what's happening. The KPPF show, we're doing the Podbean podcast. So that's gone now. We're going to actually move it over to a larger station. So we'll have that on. I want to thank Dana once again for being in. The book 10 Power Stories to Impact Any Leader, Journal Your Way to Leadership Success, that's out there on Kindle. Please go out there and get that and support that effort. And then join our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Mindsight Warriors, and that will be out there. Remember what Anais Nin says, and the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. So we'll have some more guests on next week. Next Thursday, we'll be back on You Are the Inspiration. Remember that. Inspiration is the catalyst to motivation. Motivation in turn causes actions. Actions lead us to transformational results. And these results, they re-inspire us or allow someone else that's watching the process to catch the vision. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you here next week on Hurdlers of Adversity. My name is John Register, saying bye for now.